To be fair to you, this conversation would have gone a lot differently if you had sat for 15 minutes and allowed your vibration to raise and had come into complete sync with your vortex. And then you would sit and you would chat about what's in your vortex. And many of you would say, well, Abraham, if I do that, then I don't need to come here and talk with you. And we say, good, good. We don't want you to ever see us as the sounding board for unveiling problems. We want you to see us as the support system of everything that you are and everything that you're asking for. We want you to understand that your vortex is your sounding board for all of the wonderful things. Have you ever gone to lunch and wanted to complain to somebody and they're just so damn positive they don't let you complain? And you think, well, it'll be a long time before I go to lunch with you again. And they're thinking the same thing. So we're just asking you to make your statement of intention. What is the intention in this segment of life experience? Is your intention to chart thoughtways that will lead to a construction of a project that's just going to thrill you when it manifests? Or is your intention to construct something that doesn't please you? And of course, that's a ridiculously simple question, because of course the answer is, I always want to construct something that will please me when I get there. We just want you to understand that every single minute of every single day, you have the option of constructing wanted or unwanted things. Period, 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 period. In other words, you're either constructing something wanted or unwanted, and you can tell by the way you feel which you are doing. You will get what you are vibrationally active about. Better said, you're getting what you are vibrationally active about. So one thing, it will manifest. But the other thing is, and this is our favorite part of all of this, is that when you accept that this vortex is spinning and that this vortex contains the I know what I do want part of everything that you've been living. When you accept that and you let that vortex train you into vibrational compliance or alignment, then every step of your journey, even before the manifestation begins to reveal itself to you, is fun. It's pleasurable. You're frisky, you're full, you're inspired, you're enlightened. You feel that energy, you feel that enthusiasm, you feel that passion. You feel what a creator feels when you're moving in the direction of who you really are. So we want to remind you that the emotions that you feel are nothing more than, and oh, is it ever important what they are? They are nothing more than your indicator about whether you're moving down a thought pathway towards something unwanted or whether you're moving down a thought pathway towards something that you are wanting. In other words, every time you feel negative emotion, it always means the same thing. You're moving toward unwanted and away from wanted. Every time you feel positive emotion, it means you're moving toward wanted and away from unwanted. In other words, you're the focuser of all of that, period. There is no getting around it. So when you use excuses like it's interesting, or it's happening, it's a world event, and it's happening, and I don't want to be unaware, when you use excuses like, well, I need to be informed, when you use excuses like, well, it's true. When you use excuses like, well, I need to explain it to someone, or they don't get me unless I really get involved, or I won't be taken seriously unless I have a really objective viewpoint about things. There are all kinds of such flawed reasoning, bogus reasons that you use for your explanation of why you focus away from who you are, that we come and get a little rowdy in our explanation that you are the creator of your experience and you are building constant thought ways. And you have come with the intention of selecting and joyfully moving down those pathways for the constant, never-ending, extraordinary discovery of what this magnificent universe can dish out to you as a representation of what you've got going on vibrationally. I manifest amazing things. Talk about that, and do you see what happens? When you talk about the amazing things you manifest, you open those thought ways. You carve out little vibrational roadways. You say to the universe, roads open. bring more here, bring more stuff like that to me, bring more stuff like that to me now. You see. We know we must be very annoying. But there are these powerful laws that say you get what you think about, whether you want it or not. And we are seeing a lot of people who have these magnificent vortices that they are actually constructing roadways that are leading away from them rather than to them because of some misunderstanding of how it all works, you see. And the only thing that we can figure out is that you're trying to be like others, you're trying to explain to others. You were just the perfect person for it because you're bright, you're brilliant, you're willing, you're playful, you're self-sufficient enough that we're not hurting your feelings. Precisely. You've come to understand, you want to understand, you mostly do understand, you're fine-tuning. And so we've just given you everything we've got about how to get to where you want to be from where you are. So, this is construction. Let's always think in terms of construction. Is this a hard thing? Is it a hard thing to offer a vibration that is different from where you are? All right, it is. It's not only a hard thing, it's an impossible thing. She can't find the thought ways. It's all bright for us. We can see it. It's all bright for us, but she can't find the thought ways because the roadway isn't there yet. So, what we're suggesting is that rather than letting an unwanted event train your vortex, train your vibration away from the vortex, train your vibration into compliance with unwanted things, where you just sort of go along with it because it's happening, we want you to be aware that you have the power of focus. And we want you to be aware that when you know what you don't want a little bit, you put its equivalent in your vortex. So when you sort of don't want something, you sort of want something, and that sort of wanted thing goes into your vortex. It's equivalent. It's the specifics of what you do want are equivalent to the specifics of what you don't want, and other way around. So by the time you've built something into this pathway of what you really don't want, you have, without knowing it, constructed a really specific what you do want over here in your vortex of creation. We call this vortex of creation, it's the bounce and the holding place where the evolved version of you is held in vibrational readiness for your attention to it. It's there. Now, if you're talking about manifestations, then you're probably not all that interested in these vibrational thought ways that have been carved out. But we want you to understand that the vibrational thought way that you've carved out is going to manifest depending upon where you eventually light in terms of your vibrational readiness. So we want to say to you, you can let unwanted things train your vibration into a match with what you don't want, and law of attraction will show you the evidence of where you are. Or you can let the vortex, which is the holding place for all things wanted, train you into a vibrational frequency, and the manifestation of those wanted things will show themselves to you. But what we really want, what we really want, what we want more than all other things put together, what we want, Jerry's always saying, Abraham, what do you want? What we want, 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 is that you will accept the construction of these thought ways prior to their manifestation. Because if you will accept the thought ways of these creations, if you will accept the creation of your vortex, if you will accept the creation of the unwanted things, if you will accept that they are being created by your attention and therefore by your creation of thought ways, if you will accept that they are being created long before they manifest, and you will pay attention to how you feel during the creation process, two things will happen. Two really good things. One, so much better than the other, but we're in disagreement with you about which one is the better thing. Two things will happen. One thing is sure, the manifestation of what you're focusing upon the most will happen. It will happen. It's law. It will happen. It's a done deal. It's a sure thing. It will happen. When you build a house, you have an idea of its design, don't you? You don't choose from a lot of different architectural patterns and try to create a consensus of everything available, you usually choose something and define it, and then you leave a lot out of this house. Jerry and Esther have built what Jerry called an Asian Texas house. It's in Texas, and it has a lot of Texas materials like limestone and so forth. But it's Asian in design. And as they were choosing the materials and the architecture and the furniture, they left way more out of it than they brought to it, because most everything doesn't go with that. But what goes with it really goes with it. So they focused. They didn't say, yeah, bring some of everything over. They didn't go to the furniture store and say, we'll take some of all of this, because most of it didn't fit. Only some of it fit. A very small percentage of it fit. But oh, what fit really fit. In your physical format, when you go to a buffet, you don't choose some of everything and put it on your plate. You are specific about what you're putting together. When you make a recipe, you don't take every ingredient from your closet or cupboard and try to make it fit into this cake. How much Tabasco sauce in this cake? How much cheese should go into this cake? I'm wondering if I should put scallops or shrimp into this cake. Of course, we're being absurd, but we are making a very strong point with you. When you are constructing your cake or when you are constructing your house, you know that while there is much that you can choose from, you don't choose some of all of it. You construct it with precision. You focus and you bring to it what fits. And when something doesn't fit, you leave it out. You deliberately leave it out. You don't try to make it all fit. People don't realize that they are choosing with their thoughts. They don't realize that they are constructing their lives through the conversations that they have over the dinner table with friends. They don't realize that in that dinner conversation that is mostly complaining about what's going on about something or other, there is a construction process going on where you are literally bringing the materials to your construction site, and you are in the process of building something that we promise you're not going to like it when you get it finished. We want you to begin constructing your lives with some deliberate intent. We want you to realize that when you focus upon something, it might just be something that goes past the screen on your television, and as it catches your attention and you give your attention to it for as little as 17 seconds, you begin the construction project. You do. And before you know it, there are people knocking on your door from all over the place, through television, through movies, through magazines, through conversations that you're overhearing as you're standing in line. All kinds of information that now matches that activation is now brought to you. And this is the thing that we really want you to consider. Imagine being the foreman or the architect or the builder on a construction site, and imagine a whole lot of seemingly well-meaning people bringing all of their ideas to the construction site of what you need to put into this building. Before long, you'd put a sign up that says, "Don't call us, we'll call you." Before long, you'd put a sign up that says, "Please, no more unwanted materials delivered to our door." And yet, the same thing is happening when you are giving your attention to things unwanted. It's like putting a sign out to the universe that says, if you've got a lot of this, drop it over here, because it's active in my vibration and therefore I'm calling for it. So as a result, what a lot of our physical friends are doing, instead of deliberately focusing and putting a deliberate call out for the materials, for the building blocks, for the conversations, for the ideas, for the co-creators of your life, instead of putting a deliberate advertisement out by virtue of your deliberate thought and practiced conversation, instead, you're sort of observing all over the place. And in your observation all over the place, you're putting the call out for a lot of stuff you don't want and ultimately you won't use. But in the meanwhile, you've really cluttered up your life, because now you're busier sorting.